We're going to have a match between Jerimuno and MASTERdutch, a best of 5 series as a part of the round of 16. The winner of this match will move on to face Age of Killer, also known as Breeze, also known as Breezy Beautiful, in the round of 8 quarterfinals.
Hold on, Breezy
Jerimuno,
Beautiful? Is that his
yeah,
name? It's Breeze Brothers.
yep.
No.
But Jerimuno, he's seed number 5. He's a player from Austria, and he's also the favorite to win, or not the favorite, but a favorite to win the tournament, given his past tournament history in second chance. 23, a lieutenant colonel. He's also got a 2300 max 1v1 ELO, and he is also pretty well versed in team games. He's got 2500 ELO there, plays with Haza, Sampu, the bunch. His main squeeze is pretty much British, as we see here in this game, French and Japan, but he has a pretty diverse civ pool, as we've seen in his other tournament matches as well. He's pulled out Dutch, he's pulled out Sioux and Ottoman, so he's definitely got some heavy hitters in that regard. And he was knocked out of the main tournament in the round of 32. He was actually a victim to Snow, who we saw earlier today,
Yeah.
actually qualify for the finals match versus currently undecided, maybe Kainisi or Lord Raphael, that's also moving to the finals. But yeah, Jerimuno getting knocked out in the round of 32 versus one of the strongest players in the tournament, so you can't really blame him. That's why we're seeing him here today in the second chance tournament. And yeah, to the south of the map, we're also going to have MASTERdutch playing as Germany today. He's going to be occupying seed number 12. He's a player from the Netherlands. He's a major. Been a major in the past. I think currently he's been a bit inactive, and it's more around that captain skill level. But he is Pier 31 major max. He has a 2270 max yellow, so quite close to Jerimuno. But he is sitting at 2150 currently, so he's not at the top of his game. But even still, um, past tournament matches, he took a pretty convincing lead over Lycansing, and in the round of 32, he actually absolutely destroyed Gibson 2-0 victory. So he's definitely looking on form here. He's a player that likes to go with Japan and British as well. We're seeing him pick Germany in this first match today. That's actually kind of uncommon. I think in the past tournament games that he's played, every single time he's played on Manchuria, he's gone with Japan, and that's been 3 games. And as well, every game on Hudson Bay, he's picked British. So the only tournament civilizations that we've seen him play have been Japan and British. So to see him kind of shake it up with Germany as his first pick on Manchuria is actually quite something.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Do you think he has trained for this match?
Be surprised. MASTERdutch, of course, he's not the most active player, as I mentioned earlier. I don't see anything according to his ELO history that he's played Germany recently. So whether or not, Germany was kind of a reaction to Jerimuno's Brits, I think MASTERdutch is probably aware that Brits are Jerimuno's main civilization. I would kind of maybe anticipate picking Germany basically as a counter pick. Jerimuno probably is also aware that Japan is MASTERdutch's primary civilization and probably prepared a build order for that. So again, MASTERdutch, while he might not have a build order practiced here, kind of switching it up, it may hurt him, but it may also give him the advantage in that Jerimuno doesn't really know what to expect.
Yeah, both players now having clicked in for the second age. Jerimuno is slightly faster than MASTERdutch. Is that normal for British to be slightly faster than Germany?
It depends on whether they want to, or I'm not sure. I think if they go for the 2 house age up, or rather they build 2 houses in Discovery rather than go for something cheeky like a trade post or a market. Usually Brits age up at around 2 minutes and 30, or they queue up around maybe 2 minutes and 35 seconds to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Germany pretty much always gets the age up queued at 3 minutes. So they'll be in colonial age by 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Germany, that is. And British will be up around 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So yeah, British do age up a little bit sooner.
MASTERdutch has 6 yaks versus 3 yaks of Jerimuno, but I saw him eat at least one. And MASTERdutch is not in the position right now to build a trade post yet. So do you think that's a bit different from build order from normally? Because as Germany, I would definitely just build a trade post first.
He went for the third house in his German build order instead of going for something like a trade post. Additionally, his explorers towards the mid-map, he's actually going to scout out this house as
Yeah.
well as some forward villagers for Jerimuno, so he's probably kind of clued into Jerimuno might be going for an aggressive build order here.
Yeah, it's quite
Additionally,
aggressive, isn't it? Also,
MASTERdutch actually went for a house in the transition. Apparently there's a little bit of lag.
Yes.
uh-oh.
But yeah, as you were saying?
No. If they are saying that there's going to be lag, then probably one of us has to leave. Jerimuno is Swiss, isn't he?
Actually from Austria.
Yeah,
I make that mistake all the time as well. Austria and Switzerland. They have similar flags, so it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, Jerimuno, a player from Austria. MASTERdutch, a player from the Netherlands.
Well, the trade post is coming
But in
down
kind
for
of a
Dutch.
bit late. You can also see the rickshaw man passed by the trade post before MASTERdutch was able to get the experience points from him. I think MASTERdutch kind of shouldn't have built that house that he did in transition. It didn't really serve him a purpose, given he was aging up and he was at 18 out of 20 population. He couldn't really do anything with that population to where he would be housed. But we actually see Jerimuno taking the other trade post
Exactly,
on...
right.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Jerimuno is actually going for the trade post on MASTERdutch's line, and MASTERdutch is actually going to lay the foundation for a trade post on Jerimuno's line, or the line close to Jerimuno's base. We also see, for MASTERdutch to the side here, probably going to just, I think he should be a little bit more proactive and, you know, kind of moving around Jerimuno's base. But they come free with the age up, so, you know, he can basically do whatever he wants with them. We're also going to see coming out for Jerimuno.
Yeah, sadly didn't manage to kill a villager. These two Ulans, did they manage to kill one villager in the north? Did you catch that?
Let's see it, but we're going to see Minutemen come out here, and that might be enough to repel this musketeer mass from Jerimuno. Jerimuno not really with it. He's going to take down lose three musketeers there, but he was thinking of committing to that house, but I guess he also reconsidered it and is going to go back without having taken it down, losing 3 musks in the process.
Let's see if the Ulans can take this villager.
He's actually requesting you turn up your volume a little bit.
My volume. Okay, hold on one sec.
What was going on in the game a little bit there is MASTERdutch was kind of prodding forward with his Minutemen, Jerimuno engaging them while they were at low HP, and all the Minutemen getting picked off. Jerimuno's still coming into MASTERdutch's base, going to take down a house while MASTERdutch is in process of going to age 3. He doesn't have the age up queued yet. As well, he doesn't have any military production facilities in his base, so having lost the Minutemen, basically his only out here is the 8 Expo shipment in what's going to repel these this musketeer mass from Jerimuno. If he doesn't do something, you know, he's going to continue to lose houses in his base. He does have the TC firing away at these musketeers, so he's going to be able to periodically take them down, but again, having, you know, we see him popping out the settler wagons, having Vills penned up in the TC, basically at any stage of the game. Without Colonial Militia, it's not quite cost-effective, especially, you know, as we're poaching the 8.5-minute mark against a civilization that usually has an eco advantage with their manor houses popping out villagers. As well, Jerimuno adding in the stable, adding in 5 husks to his composition, and they're going to actually catch these southbound villagers.
Oh my god, yeah, the entire mass of villagers going down, right? And he's losing all those houses to the north as well.
Villagers going down there. Going to be able to pick up a 4th, maybe a 5th.
Oh my god, look! Oh shit.
Yeah, losing 5 villagers there.
And he's totally housed right now.
Every single one of his houses. He's in the process of aging up to the fortress age, and I think he'll have a shipment queued for when he when he's up there. But at this point, having lost all his houses, he's not even going to have the population to, you know, send a shipment if he's not careful. If he did get up that house, but yeah, MASTERdutch kind of still in dire straits here. We do see another 3 Husk coming to reinforce. 3 Yulin from that, but Jerimuno still being on top of it. Still getting his DPS in and gonna kill all these Yulins with his Hussars.
Yeah, this looks really difficult.
That leaves MASTERdutch
Now.
aged up with 6 skirmishers, and he sent the 3 Doppelsodner card in transition. Timed it pretty well. Actually got some nice swings on those Husks there. And with the 5 skirmishers, he's actually probably going to be able to kite these musketeers for a while. If he's
yeah, but overall
does have at
it's
least
going to be really difficult for him, right?
yeah, he does have at least 1 more shipment in queue. I wonder what it'll be. It could be 8 skirmishers, it could be 3 war wagons. MASTERdutch got when he aged up are going to be cleaned up now. He did take down a few, but probably not cost effectively. It is.
And he's strapped for wood. Completely housed. Was he actually able to send... Oh yeah, there's his card. 9 Ulans moving in. Do you think this is going to be enough for him to deal with all these hussars and musketeers? He's going to get at least one of them.
You know, I don't like to be too non-hopeful, but you can see these hussars of Jerimuno's perfectly matched to deal with these Yulins. Actually, you know what? The Yulin's getting a really nice engage and actually going to clean up every single one of those hussars. And I think MASTERdutch only lost 1 Yulin there, or it was actually 2. But basically all the other Yulins are full HP. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Oh my
You know,
God.
Hussars being stronger, but MASTERdutch got a really nice position there and actually cleaned that up very quickly. Even still, MASTERdutch kind of falling consequence to his earlier decisions in the match. He didn't build a production facility in Age 2, and because of that, he's not going to be able to get the veteran Yulin upgrade anytime soon. And while he's able to kind of poke at Jerimuno's villagers, force them back in the TC, without having the upgrade or like some sort of advantage in Age 3, it's kind of like, what was it worth? So yeah, we do see the 8 skirmishers pop out here, and that's actually going to be so good for him, catching Jerimuno's musketeers out of position with no hussars reinforcing. So those skirmishers are going to have free reign over these musketeers and trap them all and probably kill them.
Yeah, he made a really good comeback right now. Why
Military,
do you think actually,
just...
Why do you think he didn't build a military building in H2?
I think, I'm not really sure. I don't think it was, you know, especially against British, that there's kind of any reason to ever do that rather than just go for the standard semi-FF and at least have the stable in there and make 5 Yulins. An engagement coming out over here. Yulins on Hussars. Basically all the cav killing each other, but Jerimuno having a reinforcing batch of 5 Hussars.
Yeah,
Taking down all the Yulins.
Exactly what he needed. And he's also going to get all those skirmishes and all those settler wagons as well. Oh, this is really bad. Oh my God.
See MASTERdutch.
Yep.
Just kind of making a cheeky comeback there, but yeah, like I said, just not having really the infrastructure to kind of keep up with Jerimuno. And while he did, you know, get the musketeers out of position, was able to kill a few with the skirmishers, and he also won that Yulin engagement. At the end of the day, he went into an even engagement with unupgraded Yulins against a little more, a bigger mass of Hussars, and that's not going to win him the game. When he's not able to reinforce his military in the way you would kind of hope to have as Germany. So Jerimuno kind of just going on autopilot here. Yeah, Yulins and all the settler wagons pop out of the TC, try to sponge some damage if Jerimuno isn't very focused with his control. But yeah, even still, all the Yulins getting cleaned up here. They are unupgraded, so they're quite weak, especially on EP, where they're nerfed a little bit. And I think that's going to be Master Dutch's card, and it's been spent.
Yeah, quite regrettable. He did actually quite battle valiantly into the end, but it felt to me like as if he was just a tiny bit too late. Am I correct in assuming that? Like just too late, aging up, too late with just a tiny bit too late with his units out.
Of curious decisions from MasterDutch in this game. He didn't go for the standard build order. He instead chose to do. He went 3 settler wagons, 700 coin as a second shipment, which is actually the standard build order. But instead of building a stable in the transition to age 2, to age 2, but in colonial age rather, he went with 2 trade posts instead of the stable. And because he didn't build the stable, he wasn't able to, pop out 5 Yulins or just basically have something to kind of ward off Jerimuno's pressure. And because of that, he didn't have the infrastructure going into the fortress age. He just severely limited himself in terms of the options of what he had at his disposal. And again, like you said, he was a bit slow. He went with the 6 skirmisher age up, another curious decision rather than the fast age up.
Oh,
and
it
didn't.
That was it probably. Because if he had aged up a bit sooner, then probably his cards would have worked probably. Because I do remember actually that you can play that way, right? You can actually age up faster as Germany, and then send all those cards in. And just it didn't work out for him.
Certainly. Playing aggressive, gonna punish an unrefined build order from MasterDutch, and he's gonna take game 1, leading this best of 5 series 1-0 in a pretty convincing game. And so we'll move on to game 2 here.
Yeah, next game. He's already ready, waiting for us. Yeah, and Jerimuno is saying what was wrong, what was going on. We all felt that way. It was a bit too long somehow. Do you think a tiny wall might have helped him? Just in the front of his
Dutch?
Yeah.
It might have. He could have probably gotten it, and I think that mine was in front of his TC as well, or I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact base positioning. I think MasterDutch, rather than going for something like the same build order but just with a wall, I think he just kind of should have gone with something more standard or something a bit more practice.
Yeah, and perhaps, as you said before, his mains are Japan and Brits. Am I correct?
Yes.
Of MasterDutch, yeah. And so now he's going for Sioux. Oh my god.
It'll actually be on the onus of Jerimuno to lock his civilization first here. So MasterDutch is actually going to get the counter pick. I don't know for certain if Jerimuno has locked India yet. Usually the player should, kind of establish that India is what they chose. Actually continuing to flick around while Jerimuno is still deciding.
Interesting.
MasterDutch will get the counter pick once Jerimuno's established what he wants to lock in.
There we go, Japan. Yeah, I was actually hoping for him to choose Japan. After the third game, he can choose Japan again, right?
Civilizations will reset after game 3. Basically, each player will be able to pick a civilization that they played prior at least once more. But this is going to be game 3 in a best of 5 series between Jerimuno and MasterDutch as part of the round of 16 of the Autumn Second Chance tournament. Here we're going to have MasterDutch playing as the Japanese.
As one
I'm not sure if he's spawning the west or the east. Spawning in the west of the map. Jerimuno playing as the French. He's going to be spawning in the color blue on the east side. And so we actually saw this matchup earlier today between, I think it was Snow and Haza. I think Snow chose France as his agnostic civilization, or he locked the civilization first, and Haza counterpicked it with his Japan. So similar, we have Jerimuno locking France first, and MasterDutch using his counterpick to elect with the Japan. But the earlier match, the French player actually won that game, French versus Japan. Snow He went with an early musketeer pressure against the Japanese player, whereas Haza, of course, playing as the Japanese, he was anticipating a more semi-FF, eco-oriented build order, or technological, I should say, and he actually lost that match. So I hope we don't see a repeat of that, and we see something a bit different. See some more convincing play from MASTERdutch rather than the more unrefined stuff that we saw in Game 1. And I think that is what we can expect from him.
Exactly, especially with Japan being his main. However, there is this really good treasure very near to the trade post that Blue is building right here. 150 food, and to the north, 150 coins. So that might actually help Jerimuno in the second age plan. About the Japan player, what do you think he's going to do? Is he just going to turtle and wall up a bit, or do you think he's going to build a front base over here in the center of the map?
Seen from MASTERdutch before, he actually doesn't wall up like a full base wall like Kainisi or the sort, or like King of Ozumena. He's another famous Japanese player. He likes to go full walls and then Yumi up. I don't think MASTERdutch is kind of the biggest fan of that playstyle. He still will certainly play defensive as is kind of an attribute of Japan. But he doesn't like go for the absolute turtle playstyle where he'll like send 3 fishing boats and 5 fishing boats and wall up and do silly stuff like that. Instead, he kind of likes to mishmash the build orders. Sometimes he goes aggressive, actually. That's also kind of a new build order on the EP that we've seen players do in tournament matches prior, where they go like 5 Ashigaru as their first shipment, and then they try to pressure the opponent's production early in the match, aging up with the Torii gates as well. MASTERdutch, I don't know if we've seen a Torii gate build order from him yet, but I certainly wouldn't put it past him to play kind of a mishmash of the styles, aggressive and economic. We're actually going to see an engagement towards this 150 food treasure from both players.
Yeah, I've been watching it all this time, yeah.
MASTERdutch actually kind of getting ahead there. I like how he took a lot of damage on the, or put a lot of damage on the scout. Jerimuno did save it, which is actually a good call by him, keeping that thing alive. He can put it in stealth later, fight of the century. Comes ahead. I still think it's quite close.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, of course, yes, he sent it the card. Oh my god.
And MASTERdutch, instead of sending, a standard shipment like 2 villagers or Heavenly Kami, he actually sent the Mountain Warrior card, which is the Explorer upgrade card that Japan gets in Age 1.
I would like to see Blue just take it. Oh, who's going to get it? Who's going to get it?
I think Jerimuno got it.
Oh my god, it's so annoying.
A Mountain Warrior card, one of its bonuses is that it actually increases the bounty of treasures gathered by, I think it might be 2 times or 50%. So basically, you can see he kind of passed up this 50 coin treasure right by his base. But if his Explorer were to pick it up, he would get, I'm not sure if it's 75 coin or 100 coin. But anyway, he would get more than the listed treasure. You can see it's normally worth 50 coin. Been able to pick up that 150 food treasure, he could have either gotten 225 food or 300, but yeah, that would have been a massive boon.
Oh, poor Master. I mean, sacrificing that heavily Kami card for what arguably would have been a really good bonus for him, and especially the other card, the 150 coin as well. If only he had been able to get Pierre Blanc down, he would have been in a totally different situation right now.
Still gonna see like the ADXP treasure as well. I think he's aware of the 150 coin, although he's not really in the position to take it. So he's gonna see that ADXP, gonna pick it up. And even though he didn't really kind of get the reward or like any, kind of hard resource bonus from having sent the Mountain Warrior card, it is still a buff to his explorers, and should an engagement come, at like the 8-minute mark, if Jerimuno, we can see he has a forward villager, he might throw down a Rax soon here. Yeah, there's a Rax. So he might actually, ooh, look at that coyote as well. The wolf fighting the coureur de bois.
That's perhaps not what you would like to have right now, because he really wants to build that FP up.
actually taking down that Coureur de Bois, and it's going to delay that barracks by a lot. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, that Mountain Warrior card going to buff the Explorers, and it's going to give them a lot of additional hit points and ranged damage with which to, tank for MASTERdutch's Japanese army that is usually a little bit more vulnerable in the early stages of the match. That kind of not the best creeping on that treasure from Jerimuno, and it's actually going to delay his build order by a lot, having to fight that wolf off with his Coureur de Bois.
Right? Yeah. Also, a second trade post going down. And remember when you talked about the bonus being increased through the card? It was actually 100 coin that he picked up with that. Was it 50 coin to 100 coin? Seriously?
So, I'm not sure if it's... Yeah.
That would be really good, actually.
Yeah, so imagine like MASTERdutch were able to pick up that 150 food treasure that we saw earlier. That would have been 300 food go into his bank. But we can't predicate our game analysis based on what could have been. We have to do it on what is actually happening. And we do see 5 musketeers coming out for Jerimuno here. Not going to see any pikemen or expomen, so I don't think Jerimuno is going to go for a super aggressive build order. I think rather he's just going to take the trade post line, harass MASTERdutch, especially considering he does know that MASTERdutch hasn't sent the Heavenly Kami card, which reduces the wood cost of the shrines. These shrines are very, very expensive, and putting a little bit of pressure on. I think he's just going to probably build 15 musketeers, maybe a batch of 5 hussars, try to poke in MASTERdutch's base, and then age up in the back of it.
Yeah, he's already got the stagecoach up, and probably he's going to see this villager as well now. And so his musketeers are heading out to the south of the map already. What do you think of this villager over here? Do you think he was planning to build an FB over here?
I'm curious as to what that was doing over there as well. It could have been just a mistake, like he tried to waypoint his explorer to that position, and he ended up selecting a villager. That could have been the case. I don't know if it was going for anything cheeky. Unfortunately, we don't see the foundation for anything having been laid. So, yeah, I'm just as clueless as you are. Maybe we were seeing some sneaky samurai build orders from MASTERdutch in the works, but it's not going to pan out here, losing the villager in as well. Still getting some shrines taken down.
Yeah, Jerimuno is running out of hunts nearby his base. So he definitely needs to get at least one of these, he already did, one of these shrines down, so that he can go and hunt in the center of the map. All the while, his stagecoach is just granting him so many resources that I think he's almost ready to age up, isn't he? 700 coins.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if MASTERdutch has the shipment for 600 coin, but you can kind of see from his distribution, I think he's kind of planning to age up as well. Jerimuno having already hit up, and so he's got the barracks, he's got the stable towards the mid-map, guarded by the line of sight of that trade post. He's probably got some units in queue. Let me see what they are. He does have a cuirassier in queue, actually, as his first cavalry batch. Not going to be dragoons, because he does know that it's very likely that MASTERdutch does not have a stable or any Nakanatas out. So, of course, going for that cuirassier, and he's also got some skirms in queue as well at that one barracks. The economies of both players. We can see, if you look at the recalculated economic, MASTERdutch is quite a ways ahead with his shrine count around the map, with 3 fishing boats sitting in the North Lake, as well as having sent the 4 villager shipment. But that's not the full picture. Jerimuno does have the 3 trade post line fully stagecoached out, and that's basically like maybe another 6 or 7 villagers to his economic unit population. So the economy is actually roughly even. After that, it does depend on the upgrades that the market has.
Yeah, his cuirassiers are out and moving in towards the center of the map. All his musketeers are joining as well. I don't know what MASTERdutch can bring into the foray against this. He doesn't have any Ashigaru yet. Only a few Yumis. And, oh, do you see this building over here? Do you think he's going to be in time?
Well, It doesn't seem like Jerimuno is going to notice that it is not closed up at the top there, but it's not too big a deal. After all, these walls, they are nerfed on EP. They only have 1,500 hit points, and you see it just getting melted down there. And these 5 cuirassiers are very, very imposing.
Especially for those humans. Oh my god.
It's best to kind of create a wall with his villagers as well. Keep these Yumis safe, but I don't think that's gonna last very long. He does get the sentries out, as well as the irregulars from the town center, and they're gonna help in fighting those off. In a bit of an awkward position, those Cuirassier have a lot of hit points, and a lot of area attack. Jerimuno's ranged units have been doing a good job of DPSing the units down, and they're still going to be able to shoot at these Yumis that are popping out of the TC from the Ajep. The Cuirassier is cleaning up all of the Yumis, as well as a massive reinforcing batch of 7 Cuirassier.
Yeah, this is just painful to watch. So many Cuirassiers.
A bit unprepared there. He did have, you know, a considerable Yumi mass. He probably had about 15 or 20 Yumis, but not utilizing really the base structure to his advantage, as I think he might have been able to do, and it's going to get cleaned up right there. And that'll be the second game going to Jerimuno on this best of 5 series. It is match point for him, so he only has 1 game win away from moving on to the round of 8. And he's actually going to get the opportunity to counterpick MASTERdutch's Civilization going into Game 3.
Oh wow, yeah. Take a look at the units killed by Jerimuno.
7 units killed. I especially want to see that graph of the military unit population.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
There was a huge power spike for Jerimuno around that 11-minute mark. And MASTERdutch not really being prepared in base. He did have the single wall, but it really wasn't enough, especially considering where his Yumis were. They weren't really doing anything besides letting the French unit siege down that wall. And after that, they got... Well, MASTERdutch did make an effort to kind of protect them, you know, with his villagers and everything of that nature. He was slower to his age up, and just got caught out of position. He lost a lot of units before he was able to, you know, reinforce with the age up, before he was able to age up and upgrade his units. And, you know, that was a really nice timing from Jerimuno.
It was, wasn't it? And again, I can't escape the feeling that, you know, MASTERdutch had a plan in mind, but just was a tiny bit too slow. Like, if he had aged up a bit sooner, he might have been able to get a few more Ashis out and be able to fight a bit better against all those QRSAs. Regrettable, as Kaiser Klein would say. And I actually really had hoped that MASTERdutch would have been able to win that game.
Certainly, you know, Japan being his main civilization.
Exactly.
Having played Germany in the first match, he still does have his prime civilization, or his kind of his flex civilization in the British. So I think that's a civilization he's comfortable with,
Yeah.
but he's kind of locked into selecting that. And especially, he's going to have to choose it first. He's going to have to let Jerimuno know what his pick is. So Jerimuno is going to get the perfect opportunity to counter that going into Game 3.
What is
So it's going to be pretty difficult.
Versus Brit?
Brit, you know, we did see again in the previous series, we saw a British versus Spain matchup on the map High Plains. The next map of this series, of course, going to be High Plains. And Snow did win that as the British counterpick, the Spanish pick of Haza. So I wouldn't something like Spanish for Jerimuno as his counterpick. But yeah, Spain is actually a civilization that really does well on this map, considering they have, you know, the accelerated shipment progression. They like to go with advanced trading posts and just establish a lot of control on the trade post line. But there are other civilizations that can do that as well. Another one being Ottoman, as well as Portuguese. Those are both strong civilizations on this map for the same reasons. MASTERdutch.
Call me silly, but I would have picked Portuguese on this map.
Portuguese is a reasonable counterpick to British here. we might also see Jerimuno go for something like India or maybe even Germany. I think those are
Oh, how did you know? You actually picked India.
fair.
Wow, really, really good. Um,
All right,
sadly,
and that'll be game.
yeah, game 3.
Of game three in the best of five series between Jerimuno and MASTERdutch. Again, part of the round of 16 of the ESOC Autumn Second Chance. The winner of this match going to be moving on to the round of 8 quarterfinals versus Breeze Brothers, otherwise known as Age of Killer or Breezy Beautiful. Um,
I do protest that name.
I love it. I think it's adorable. Anyway, Jerimuno is leading this series 2-0 against MASTERdutch. In the previous match, MASTERdutch having locked in his or gotten the opportunity to counterpick, and he counterpicked with his main civilization being Japan. So MASTERdutch kind of on the back foot here. He's playing as the British. A civilization he is quite well versed in, but probably not the one he wanted to play, especially on high plains, where it's kind of difficult for British to establish control along the trade post line.
Oh, look at the scouting pattern. They're both going the same way.
Pattern. I'm glad you bring it up because I do like what Jerimuno did here. He kind of split his explorers up so that he would get the maximum line of sight, but they're still together at the end of the day. And he was able to scout out that 70 coin treasure and bring his explorers together to take that way before MASTERdutch was able to do anything about it. With his 5 speed explorers compared to the 4.5 speed of the British explorer, he's going to be able to skirt away from that real quick. Taking a look at these hunts, I think they're reasonable. Your hunts to the north are kind of extendable. They can kind of be herded in. They may be like, if you were to herd them, I would expect them to be at kind of at like this position around the called 2 to 3 minute mark, or not 2 to 3, but like 6 to 7. So I think these hunts are reasonable for both players.
Okay. I actually would have said that this one is a bit too far, but that's okay. Compared to the blue players. They're obviously a bit closer to his.
Still end up.
Yeah, manageable.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially on this map. We do have a few very good treasures over here. Those are native scout. And Jerimuno is going to see it. And here 60 XP, well that's not too bad. I'm kind of sad that the Japan game didn't last that long, that I could talk a bit about the Ashigaru, but maybe next time.
Do you have any
historic
Well,
bits?
absolutely. While High Plains is kind of an awkward map to talk about the British versus India history, do you want to go over that a little bit?
No, not at all.
Yeah, especially not on this map.
Yeah, I could be talking about the longbowmen, but that's it. Oh, and Jerimuno is picking up that village over here, and he's sending it forward. Probably is going to put the Agra around here.
Actually, not sure. I think it's a settler. I'm not sure if that rescued settler will actually be able to build wonders.
It does.
At least with the Ottoman technology, I'm pretty sure that you get the settlers from that. It's a 4-settler tech you can get from the Ottoman consulate. I don't think those 4 settlers are able to build on the the wonders when you queue them up.
Right.
So we may see that settler kind of. Oh nope, I'm completely wrong. So he's going to be able to lay the foundation with that rescued settler.
Yeah, did you see that?
And,
MASTErdutch
lay that
tried to
aggro.
block it? Well, I think it was just a bit too late.
At Jerimuno, MASTERdutch probably could have positioned his explorer a little bit better there. He kind of got in front of the villager, toward like closer to this trade line, rather than where he needed to be, which was center, right between the coin mine and the trade line, to prevent that aggro from going up in that position.
All the while, Jerimuno is picking up quite a few treasures out here. 75 coin. And 50 coin over here as well. And that one villager that actually helped him out quite a lot, didn't it? Saving a few seconds while walking it. And he's been herding this herd back, and MASTERdutch has done that as well with the other herd, of which we said like it was, well, you said it was actually within the bounds of being herdable back to his base, and I thought like, well, it's a bit far, but you were actually right. No problem at all. Market going down for Jerimuno. Yep.
I like that you mentioned the treasures for both players, because if you look at Jerimuno's coin production, or not coin production, but his the coin that he has so much coin from what he's picked up. He got a 70 coin treasure, 80 coin worth of beavers, and then he also picked up the 75 coin treasure as well as the settler. So his treasures this game have been, you know, while coin not very useful for India in the Discovery Age, that's really going to help him get out that first batch of sepoys, first batch of Gurkhas, as well as market techs in the early colonial age.
Yeah,
streamline his build order.
His villages are still on wood, so it seems to me that he's going for full isomcology or Virginia Company style.
MASTERdutch is actually the brother of a very famous AoE3 player, Goodspeed. He's also the kind of progenitor of the ESOC patch. And so one of Goodspeed's calling cards is the Virginia Company build order, and MASTERdutch, being kin of Goodspeed, gonna be going for the Virginia Company build order in this match as well.
Yeah, and I think Jerimuno has picked up on it. At least his elephants are seeing it. Well, he's doing it quite well actually. Lots of houses now out. There's still a little tiny hole over here between the two manors, and a whole entire batch of sepoys moving in right through that gap.
Yeah, we're seeing India's most aggressive build order, the 12 sepoy rush, coming out here. Gonna put a damper on MASTERdutch's boom. Not even being able to have gathered up the 700 coin, or 700 wood, his first shipment. Losing a villager there. Longbowmen coming out, and those are going to be able to prod away, these do a little bit of damage. But, you know, these explorers from,
they're being blocked by the hunts. Did you see that? He's so lucky. Oh my god.
Indian elephants just doing so much damage. Those longbowmen's gonna get cleaned up, but the TC fire is still getting some nice shots off on the sepoys. Not the entire mass is cleaned up, so his villagers are still at risk. Gonna lose another one there.
I think he's lost 3 of them now, which is well, at least for me, quite normal whenever I do this strat, to lose at least a few villagers. He's lost only 2. Actually, quite
really?
Yeah.
But you have to consider how much resource gathering that 12 sepoy rush delayed for MASTERdutch. You know, having the villas penned up, as well as not really being able to make the most of the Virginia Company build order, instead having to pump some wood into the longbowmen to hold, and then as well as second barracks. So while we can actually see that the economy is in favor of Jerimuno. Jerimuno, content with that 5 sepoy rush, going to fall back on a more economic card in the foreign logging, which is a big wood trickle. It's basically the 5 villager shipment of India. In terms of economy, the Indian player, that is. Or roughly even militaries. We're going to see the Indian player again, prod in a little bit. Contain MASTERdutch, especially now that Jerimuno can tell that this bison hunt of MASTERdutch has herded outside of his base. Superior economy, or not necessarily superior, but even economy. He's happy to just sit here and continue to take roughly even military engagements, and maybe even pen up a few villagers, as we're seeing right here. And what that's going to do is we see the hunt again being herded away from the town center.
Yeah, but he still has
Still
got enough hunts on the other side of the town center. But
plenty of deer there, just
yeah,
to last him for the for another like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But his unit production having to ferry these settlers around in the town center, getting them penned up, it was very awkward for him, and so his mass is kind of lacking here. But MASTERdutch in a very nice position, going to take down most of the Sours, or at least get very good damage off on them. The Minutemen also being called, as well as the town center fire. Shipment coming out as well.
yeah. It's actually quite good timing for MASTERdutch. Both elephants now
Being taken down.
Yeah. And also the Gurkhas are going to fully be taken care of, I think. There's only a few more left. I think, yeah, MASTERdutch should be really happy with the end result of this match.
Really good. And he's still got a decent wood pile in his coffers, so he can probably convert that, you know, having safely rebalded the Indian aggression there. He's kind of content to just continue to eco up, I would hope. Laying down 3 more manor houses to bolster his economy and put him a little bit farther ahead. Again, they are still similar in terms of economy. MASTERdutch now with a slight military unit population advantage lead. But Jerimuno's still the one with control of the tempo of the game.
Yeah, but he was able to stabilize at the very least. And, oh, this one village is going to get caught out. Oh, that's such a shame. However, he's got more than 13 manors up, so that's an added 13 villagers for free. In total now, 38 villagers versus 29 from the Indian player. So I would say that MASTERdutch is actually in quite a good position right now. Also with 600 extra wood now, so he can put down more of his manors down. I think this might be one of the best games that MASTERdutch has been playing thus far. What do you think?
I think so as well, showing his stuff with the British. As well in High Plains, you know, I kind of ragged on them for not being the optimal pick. But after all, you know, High Plains is kind of a high hunt map. And it's one where you can kind of get these the hunts into the town center range reasonably well. And while MASTERdutch, he kind of got a little bit unlucky with his bison hunt outside of his base. He still has enough food with which to produce units and continue to plow ahead with his manor boom, his Virginia Company boom. It's not a terrible map, and MASTERdutch has kind of proved that he's able to hold, and he's still got some fight left in him.
Well, I think actually his army is now capable of taking on Jerimuno's. 17 Gurkha versus 12 longbowmen and 4 hussars versus, well, the 3 gardeners and 6 sowars. What do you think?
Very good play.
12? Yeah.
A very good play from a MASTERdutch come to the side here. Gonna raid Jerimuno's base and again put him on the back foot. You know, Jerimuno's army isn't necessarily ready to engage MASTERdutch if MASTERdutch has all of his army together. I would think, like you said, the call here, you know, with the 6 gardeners actually coming out. But I would think with the MASTERdutch's longbowman count, he would be able to hold these Gurkhas, but it's actually shaping up for Jerimuno here. Which as well, recalling those 4 hussars that he sent to raid. So with no pressure going on in Jerimuno's base, it's actually going to be on MASTERdutch from this point to kind of make something happen, maybe engage at closer to Jerimuno's forward base. But he can't continue to sit in his base forever.
Yeah, slight contention over here with the Zamburaks and the entire blue army moving in. We have around 17 musketeers and 12 longbowmen fighting 23 Gurkhas, and a few villagers were graphically being slaughtered as well. At this moment, ooh, I'm just seeing a lot of blue.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice positioning from Jerimuno, his Gurkhas, but this cav batch from MASTERdutch deleting the market to get the better positioning. It could go very well for him here. I'd like to see MASTERdutch focus down the Zambrax and maybe put the Musketeers in a melee mode against these Hussars, which are kind of tanking some damage for the Indian player. Down here, and now it's just infantry versus the Indian Gurkhas as well as some of the Zambaraks. Again, still relatively even. These longbowmen are going to do a reasonable job of holding the Gurkhas here. In terms of the remass potential, you can see 5 Gurkhas as well as 5 Sours coming out for the Indian player, and nothing yet out for the British. We do see a 3 Musketeer pop. 6 Musketeers. But Musketeers against Gurkha, or a Gurkha-based composition, I don't know how well that'll fare.
Yeah, MASTERdutch is a bit strapped for food, it seems. Let me check where all the Huns are. He's got a few in front of his base. And yeah, he might be able to get a few of the bison shipment from the Cheyennes. He's got enough wood to build a trade post.
Yeah, so this hunt over here, I mean, it's a little bit exposed, but he has a good line of sight of it, so it's basically not exposed, I suppose. So that's, you know, another source of food. He's also got the deer hunt over there, which is still kind of safe. You know, I wouldn't expect Jerimuno to position his units in that spot of the map. But even still, you know, MASTERdutch is struggling to kind of get on equal footing or equal grounds with Jerimuno in terms of military population. Longbowman, he's going Musk heavy, so I'd expect him to, you know, try to continue to push out a lot of Hussars, which is what he's going to need in order to match this Gurkha mass from Jerimuno. Split compositions. We see some of the Sours fighting against the Hussars towards the north, and the Zambaraks also engaging, getting some good DPS against them. And the Gurkhas are fully engaging with the Musketeers of MASTERdutch. The Musketeers being out of range, not being able to get any DPS on the Gurkhas. It's going to go very, very well for Jerimuno here.
Yeah, even moving in his villagers to soak up some damage out here. But it seems that for some reason he's just making only Musketeers.
Seems like fighting with these villagers is going to be MASTERdutch's harbinger here, and very soon I think we're going to see a GG and a victory for Jerimuno.
Yeah.
But not to call it too early, deleting his barracks to get a better position with the Hussars there. Even so, I mean, he's going to be able to clean it up, so I appreciate the what do you call it?
Determination.
You know, the fighting spirit, exactly, from MASTERdutch.
Yeah.
Just having fun at this point, just enjoying seeing the units fight with their gorgeous animations in Age of Empires 3. But I wouldn't expect him to stay in too much longer.
Although he didn't manage to fight off that army of blue, so actually quite well done by MASTERdutch. And indeed,
she's held off most of the pressure.
Exactly.
From our caster's position.
Sticks it out there and exactly what you said, like that he actually deleted. Oh no, please play on a bit more. Oh, that he deleted his barracks just to get a better position. I mean, that was just terrific.
Yeah, so we do see it there. Jerimuno gonna win this series 3-0 over MASTERdutch. Jerimuno gonna be our player that advances to the round of 8 quarterfinals against Age of Killer. That'll be a match. We hope to see it next week. GG, well played.